As she entered her number with trembling hands, reality hit her. This man had bought an entire building in Lagos just to get her phone number. No one had ever pursued her like this before. Imagine giving your heart to someone for 2 whole years, only to discover they've been using you all along. What would you do if they then had the nerve to ask for more? This is the story of Chioma, a successful marketing executive who thought she knew exactly what she wanted, until she met a man who turned her world upside down. What she didn't realize was that her greatest obstacle to love wasn't her demanding job or her complicated past. It was herself. Follow Chioma's journey as she learns that sometimes the love we run from is exactly the love we need. All I'm asking for is $2,000, Davis said, his eyes pleading. You and I know $2,000 is not a big deal. You have it. Just don't be stingy. Chioma couldn't believe her ears. After losing her entire $5,000 investment on his failed Forex trading scheme, Davis had the nerve to ask for more money. The word stingy echoed in her mind, igniting a fire inside her. You're mad, she whispered, her voice growing louder with each word. You are mad. Take off everything I've ever bought you. Davis laughed nervously. Baby, you're overreacting. Your necklace, your shirt, your watch, your hand chain, your shoes. She listed, her finger pointing at each item. In fact, your boxers. Take them off. Now. Davis stood there in shock, suddenly realizing she wasn't joking. 2 years of relationship ended right there, with him walking out of her apartment half naked, carrying his clothes in his arms. That night, as Chioma shared drinks with her best friends Ify and Val, she made a promise to herself. I am done with men. Done with all this dating nonsense. Little did she know, fate had other plans. Yes, I saw the edits. They are sloppy? Revert to version 2 and align with the brand guide. Chioma's voice was firm as she instructed her team. At work, she was in complete control, a stark contrast to her personal life. As the head of marketing at a prestigious firm, she was respected for her talent, but constantly undermined by her boss, Miss Juliet. Chioma, where are we on the luxury rebranding? Miss Juliet demanded, barging into her office unannounced. We are behind schedule, but I've sent the revised versions to the team. We'll be ready for Friday's presentation, Chioma explained. The creatives should be ready by now. You're slacking, Ms. Juliet snapped. When I was a young executive, I was creating 100 slides in 3 hours. Day after day, it was the same story. No matter how hard Chioma worked, it was never enough. Her ideas were stolen and given to Showu, the top executive, while she was left to do all the heavy lifting. That evening, as Chioma packed up to leave, she wondered if this was all life had to offer, a toxic workplace and failed relationships. Something had to change. Mommy, I'm coming to Anambra State for Ifunaya's introduction. That's all, Chioma said firmly into her phone. All that trophy daughter party that you want to do? You have between my coming in on Friday and my returning to Lagos on Sunday. That's about 37 hours. Her mother's voice softened on the other end. What is the difference between coming and staying in Lagos? If I can't carry you to the market, just one more time. Chioma felt a pang of guilt, but stood her ground. At 32, she was tired of her mother's constant matchmaking attempts. Every visit home meant being paraded in front of eligible bachelors from the village, as if her successful career in Lagos meant nothing without a husband. Look, Mommy, I love you. I will talk to you later. I have a lot of work to do, okay? Bye? As she hung up, Chioma sighed deeply. Between her demanding job and her mother's expectations, she felt pulled in too many directions. All she wanted was to be appreciated for who she was, not who others wanted her to be. The upcoming trip to Anambra was going to be exhausting, but she had no idea it would change her life forever. The traditional ceremony was in full swing when Chioma stepped outside for some fresh air. The music and laughter had become overwhelming, and she needed a moment alone. Or so she thought. It seems like you're hiding from somebody, a deep voice said beside her. Chioma turned to find a handsome, well-dressed man holding out a drink for her. She took it cautiously. Well, not one person in particular, she replied. I left Lagos to run away from my boss, who I am convinced is either having a midlife crisis or struggling from childhood trauma. Then I'm trying to recover from a 2-year relationship that just ended. The man smiled broadly. That's good news. Why is that good news? Chioma asked, surprised. Because I want to make it very clear, he said, his eyes never leaving hers. I am going to marry you. Chioma nearly choked on her drink. You don't even know me. You are Chioma Gloria Okuji, marketing executive, CEO of Ariana Scent, ambitious and very beautiful, he replied confidently. How did you know that? She asked, stunned. The man introduced himself with pride. I am Obiora Godwin Chukora, of Chukora Group. As they continued talking, Chioma realized with horror that this was the man her mother had been trying to set her up with. The wealthy, titled man from the village everyone was talking about. So, now that you officially know that I am single, she said playfully, what are you going to do about it? Like I already told you, Obiora replied with absolute certainty. I am going to marry you. Oh, Lagos, I have missed you, Chioma sighed as she returned to her apartment. The weekend in Anambra felt like a dream, but the memory of Obiora remained vivid in her mind. When her friends came over to welcome her back, they immediately noticed something different. I don't know, Val said, studying Chioma's face. I can't place it, but what? Chioma asked innocently. You know, Val, Ify chimed in, I know this smile. This was the exact smile you had when you first told us about Davis. Oh God, Chioma groaned. I don't know what people are talking about. Girl, spill it, Val demanded. Give us the details. His age, his height, blood group, let us know. Is he single? How many kids? How many baby mamas? Chioma finally gave in. His name is Obiora. I met him during the traditional wedding. He gave me a drink, and then we went back to his hotel. Her friends leaned in eagerly. And then we gisted throughout the night. Watched a movie, that's it. You didn't do anything? Ify asked, disappointed. Nope, Chioma confirmed. At least his phone number, Val pressed. Chioma shook her head. I don't have his phone number, neither does he have mine. Why? Her friends asked in unison. He lives in Anambra. I live in Lagos. He has a thriving business. He has a life there. I have my life here. Chioma shrugged. I'm not going to be delusional, expecting something great to come out of this one. Little did she know, Obiora wasn't a man who gave up easily. Monday morning arrived with Chioma rushing to her office. She was already preparing her excuses for being late when she noticed a commotion at the entrance. Security! Come and get these clowns out of here, Ms. Juliet shouted. To Chioma's shock, Obiora was standing there with a group of men in suits. You know him? Ms. Juliet asked, turning to Chioma. Yes, I know him very well, the security guard replied instead. Mr. Obiora here bought this place this morning, and he even paid cash. And technically now, he's your new landlord. Chioma's mouth fell open as Obiora approached her with a smile. Put your number here, he said, handing her his phone, so I can take my friends away and stop being a nuisance. As she entered her number with trembling hands, reality hit her. This man had bought an entire building in Lagos just to get her phone number. No one had ever pursued her like this before. It was both flattering and frightening. Tell me about yourself, Obiora said across the candlelit table at one of Lagos's most exclusive restaurants. That's new, Chioma replied, surprised. How? Usually, on dates, I'm the one doing the listening. She smiled. On this date, I just want to know more about you. As Chioma shared details about her marketing career and her perfume business, Obiora listened intently, his eyes never leaving hers. I was trying to order some perfumes online the other day, but I realized that you people are out of stock, he commented. Chioma sighed. I've not gotten around to restocking, honestly. Office work has taken so much of my time. You understand that this might sound a little selfish, Obiora said carefully. You need to prioritize your own business over somebody else's business. A business that you can wake up one day, go to work, and they basically just fire you. No man had ever encouraged her ambitions before. They usually felt threatened by her success, or, like Davis, saw her as a source of funding for their own dreams. Look, Obiora continued, I'm going to marry you. You're going to be my wife. Chioma laughed. I give it to you. You're persistent. It's not a matter of persistence, he corrected. It's more like confidence. As the evening ended, Obiora walked Chioma to her door. When she invited him inside, he surprised her again. It's not like I don't want to go inside with you. I just don't want what we have to be about sex, he explained. I want to get to know you at different levels. Chioma watched him walk away, more confused than ever. This wasn't how wealthy men usually behaved. This wasn't how any man had ever treated her. Over the next few weeks, Chioma's office became a delivery station. Every day brought new gifts, flowers, jewelry, gourmet chocolates, designer dresses. Can you tell your admirers that this is a place of work? Ms. Juliet snapped. I don't like these kinds of distractions. But the distractions continued, and Chioma's colleagues watched in amazement as the office romance unfolded before their eyes. That evening, when she met with her friends for drinks, they couldn't understand her hesitation. You're ghosting him? Why? Val asked. I don't know. He's not my type. Chioma mumbled. Is he ugly? Ivy pressed. He's actually very good looking. Does he have body odor? Swing. He smells amazing. Is he terrible in bed? Logically. We haven't gotten there yet. Is he badly behaved? Self-absorbed? Condescending? Zrania, we had a great time talking, Chioma admitted. He listens to everything I'm saying and not saying. He's a great listener. Ivy threw up her hands in frustration. So, this man is kind, a great listener, good-looking, self-aware, of age, wealthy, and generous. A 15/10, and you don't want to see him again because... Chioma hesitated before answering in a small voice. His accent. Her friend stared at her in disbelief. Accents? Val exclaimed. Wait, let me ask you. All the men that we've dated that speak big English, tell me, how has it panned out for us? Chioma had no answer. What was it about Obiora's accent that bothered her so much? It wasn't just the accent. It was something deeper, something she couldn't quite place. Why are you ghosting me? Obiora asked, appearing suddenly at Chioma's office door. I'm not ghosting you, she replied weakly. Is it because I told you that I don't want to have sex yet? He pressed. If it's the sex that is the problem, let us do it right now on this table. Obiora, please, Chioma whispered, blushing furiously. I have a pitch in 5 minutes. Can we talk about this later? He nodded and stepped aside, but when Chioma returned from her meeting, he was still there, waiting patiently. He followed her home and surprised her with a home-cooked meal in her own kitchen. As they sat down to eat, Chioma finally addressed the elephant in the room. It's not about the grand gestures and the gifts, she explained. I don't date Igbo men. Why? Obiora asked, genuinely curious. Why don't you date Igbo men? It's obvious that I'm a very ambitious and workaholic woman, and Igbo men don't like that, she said, avoiding his eyes. They would rather do everything for the woman while she just lays around, and I'm not about that life. Igbo men like to take care of their women, Obiora corrected gently. They don't like their women to stress. They want to spoil their women, pamper their women, treat their women as a queen is supposed to be treated. What if it's the stress I like? Chioma challenged. The hustle drives me. Obiora studied her face. What exactly is the reason that you are ghosting me? Because I have not shown you or proved to you that I am a man who does not support a career woman. Your life is in Anambra. Mine is here, Chioma answered weakly. Long distance. I have 54 properties in Lagos, Obiora revealed. In the 6th where you live, I have 11 properties there. Alone. If you need me, if you say the word, I will take a flight, and I will come here. Then Chioma finally admitted the truth. The Igbo accent. It gives me an itch. Hurt flashed across Obiora's face. I'm sorry, she added quickly. It's okay, he said, standing to leave. I'm not your spec. If I'm not your spec, I'm not your spec. There's nothing anybody can do about it. As he walked to the door, Chioma felt a growing panic. Was she really going to let this amazing man walk away because of an accent? Why are you still being nice to me? She asked as he handed her a forgotten item. You are clearly very upset. My being angry with you doesn't mean that I have to be mean to you, he replied simply. Good night. As the door closed behind him, Chioma felt as though she'd made a terrible mistake. Just as Chioma was processing her complicated feelings for Obiora, her past came knocking at her door, literally. Davis stood there with a smug smile. I got this yesterday, he announced, waving a document. A refund of $5,000 of Forex investment, $3,000 on real estate, and $4,000 for the longest list of things that I thought you gave me as a gift. Chioma was confused until her friend Ify stepped forward. Yes, I sent that letter. I will sue that man for every penny you've ever spent on him. It turned out that Davis had received his trust fund money and was flaunting his new wealth on social media trips to Hawaii, Dubai, Maldives, luxury cars, while never repaying Chioma. As Davis left, defeated by Ify's legal threats, Chioma realized something important. She'd wasted 2 years on a man who never valued her, and now she was pushing away a man who valued her more than anyone ever had.
Please tell me, are you enjoying the story? If so, tell me what lessons have you actually learned? I would really love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. And remember to support this channel, please subscribe, like the video, comment, just say something, even a word could literally mean a whole lot. So I want you to tell me what lessons have you learned from this story. Trust me, these are situations that most people actually go through. I'm sure some of you that are watching this story have actually gone through this situation. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear how you dealt with the situation that you were faced with.
Mommy, you traveled all the way from Anambra to Lagos because of gossip, Chioma asked, surprised to find her mother at her doorstep. Answer my question, her mother demanded. Did you go on a date with Chief Obiora or not? We went out on a date, Chioma admitted reluctantly. You did? You went on a date? Her mother's face lit up with joy, which quickly turned to confusion when Chioma added, But he's not my type. He's not your type? What type? Her mother exclaimed. Do you know who we're talking about? Chief Obiora. All the women in our village have literally presented their daughters to him. He refused to talk to any one of them. And look at you here. He took you out on a date. Mommy, all the women in the village, they can carry him away. I don't want, Chioma insisted. Her mother's expression changed to one of desperation. You want us to remain like this, and your mother will be hustling like a man? See, wealth that God is bringing to us. Don't do like that. To Chioma's horror, her mother announced she was on a hunger strike until Chioma agreed to marry Obiora. This was emotional blackmail at its finest. But it also made Chioma wonder, was she being foolish to push away a good man? The next day at work, Ms. Juliet was on another rampage. I am tired of repeating myself over and over every day in this office, she shouted. Are you even listening to me? But today was different. Something had shifted inside Chioma. "Tonu," she said calmly to her colleague, "how much are you being paid in this organization?" 875,000 naira. "Ma," Tola replied, surprised by the question. "With all the work you do here," Chioma pressed. "Yes, Ma." "If I paid you 400,000 naira, would you come work with me in my perfume company as the business manager?" "Yes, Ma," Tola answered without hesitation. Chioma turned to Ms. Juliet with newfound confidence. "I know it is completely off your job description, but can you write both our resignation letters and have them handed to HR by EOD?" "How dare you?" Ms. Juliet sputtered. "You both are fired." "Great," Chioma replied coolly. "I want you to add to that resignation letter that I have accrued 117 hours PTO. I have never been promoted. My salary has never been increased. I have never benefited from HMO in the last 5 years. I have only endured verbal abuse from the CEO." As she walked out of the office with Tonu behind her, Chioma felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She was finally taking control of her life, but there was still one important piece missing. While Chioma was busy reclaiming her professional life, her friends were taking matters into their own hands regarding her love life. "Obiora, has Chioma ever spoken to you about her father?" Ify asked during a secret meeting they'd arranged. "No, but I understand that he was a titled man from the state," Obiora replied. Yes, he was." "And he was rich, very rich," Val confirmed. "And he spoke exactly like you. He had an accent." "How is that relevant?" Obiora asked, confused. "When we were in primary school, there was a rumor that Chioma was a bastard," Ify explained. "I fought everyone that said it. But then one day, her father's wife from the UK shows up to harass Chioma and her mother. Apparently, Chioma's mother was his Nigerian wife, his mistress. And ever since that day, Chioma has hated him so much that she has stayed away from any man that remotely reminds her of him. I always wondered why she always dated a particular type of guys," Val added. "Always broke, had no accent, finding themselves. And the most important one was, he must not be Igbo. Obiora, you're everything that she's been avoiding all her life. What other shoe is she waiting to drop?" Obiora asked, understanding dawning on his face. "Like a secret family, a wife, something," Ify said. "Obiora, she really loves you." "She does. Chioma loves you more than she's ever loved any other man. I think she's just scared to give it all because—" "I have a flight to catch," Obiora interrupted, standing abruptly. "I appreciate this, whatever this is. I will see you people some other time." As he walked away, the friends looked at each other, wondering if they'd made things better or worse. Chioma was going through her emails when her door opened. Thinking it was Ify, she didn't look up. "What are you doing here?" she asked when Obiora's voice greeted her. "I spoke to your friends," he said quietly. "They told me about your father." "God, I'm going to kill them," Chioma muttered. "No, you should take it easy on them. They meant well," Obiora insisted. "After my conversation with them, I now understand why you don't like the way I talk. I understand better now why you have refused to spend my money, why you have refused to pour your heart into our relationship." Chioma remained silent as he continued. "You believe strongly that I will drop the other shoe," he said. "You are waiting for me to mess up, to disappoint you. Chioma, with me, there is no other shoe. I am the complete pair." "Pair?" Chioma repeated. "Pair," Obiora confirmed. "I want to spoil you. I want to pamper you the way you want. I want to make you happy, but I cannot be able to do that if you do not trust me." "I trust you," Chioma said quietly. "No, Chioma, you can't say that because from where I'm standing, it doesn't feel like it." Tears welled up in Chioma's eyes as she finally opened her heart completely. "I love you," she admitted. "I love how you look at me like your morning sun. I actually love how you talk. It's funny. I love how you laugh. how you just know when to be my lover, my protector, my friend, my brother, my family. You are just so good for me. I love how you make me fall in love with you every single day, and I know that if I fall today, you will be there to catch me." Obiora smiled, his eyes shining with emotion. "I was nursing a thought some days ago. I bought a ring. I thought, why don't I propose to you?" He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. "I want you to be my wife. Put the ring on my finger," Chioma said through happy tears. "Because you know Obiora doesn't have time for long talk." As he slipped the ring onto her finger, Chioma realized that sometimes the things we run from are exactly the things we need most. Her father's betrayal had shaped her choices for years, but now she was choosing her own path, a path that led straight to Obiora's arms. 6 months later, Ariana Scent had become one of the fastest-growing perfume brands in Nigeria. With Obiora's business acumen and Chioma's creative vision, the company had expanded beyond her wildest dreams. Tonu had proven to be an excellent business manager, and they had even hired several of their former colleagues who had been mistreated by Ms. Juliet. As for Ms. Juliet, rumors said she was struggling to keep the company afloat without Chioma's talents. Chioma's mother had finally gotten her wish. Her daughter was engaged to the wealthiest man in the village. But more importantly, Chioma was happier than she'd ever been. "You know," Obiora said one evening as they sat on the balcony of their new home, overlooking the Lagos skyline, "I told you from the first day that I was going to marry you." Chioma laughed, leaning into his embrace. "You did, and I thought you were crazy." "Not crazy," he corrected, kissing her forehead. "Just confident. Sometimes love speaks in different accents. Sometimes it buys buildings just to get your phone number. And sometimes it patiently waits for you to heal from old wounds before claiming your heart. For Chioma, love had been there all along, in every word, in every gesture, in every moment. She just needed to be brave enough to embrace it."